Good morning, I am Dizon Rina from BED3B, your reporter for today, and I will be discussing the major elements of curriculum. In order to get a good result, a good planning must come first. In addition, a substantial and successful output comes from a well-founded and planned curriculum. During the planning stage, curriculum designers should bear in mind the major elements that all learning plans should have, starting from setting a standard to evaluation. The curriculum should be systematically planned for the sake of learners and not based on teachers' comfort in teaching. Isa sa mga trabaho ng teacher ay ang curriculum designing dahil ito ang kanilang magiging guide throughout the whole semester or school year. May 4 na parte ang curriculum na kinakailangan nating tandaan kung tayo ay gagawa nito. Una, ang behavioral objectives or desired learning competencies. Ikalawa, ang subject matter or content. Ikatlo, learning experiences at ang huli ay ang evaluation. Let's start at number 1, desired learning competencies. Some may call it the curriculum intent or behavioral objectives. It is the set of goals to be attained and achieved by the learners at the end of every lesson or unit. Pag sinabi nating desired learning competencies, these are the set of goals designed by the teacher before the beginning of lesson or discussion. These objectives should be met and expected to exhibit or demonstrate by the students at the end of discussion, unit, or chapter. In designing or creating learning objectives, there are methods we can use. First, we can use the CAP, the 3 learning domain. CAP stands for cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. First, we have the cognitive domain. This is the most commonly used domain. It deals with the intellectual side of learning. Sinusukat nito yung students' mastery of content, remembering, understanding, and comprehension of lesson. In short, it relies more on intellectual aspect of students. Second, we have the affective domain. This domain includes objectives relating to attitude and values. Ito naman yung mga values na naka-attach sa lesson na gusto mong ma-master or matutunan ng iyong mga estudyante. Pangatlo ay ang psychomotor domain. This domain focuses on motor skills and actions that require physical coordination. Ito naman yung mga skills na naka-attach sa lesson na gusto mong matutunan ng iyong mga estudyante. So that is the CAP, the 3 learning domain. Another method is the ABCD model. ABCD stands for audience, behavior, condition, and degree. Let's start at letter A for audience. It answers the question who are the intended learners or end user of instruction. B for behavior. It answers the question what are learners expected to demonstrate or manifest. This describes learners' capability. If it is the skill, dapat it should be real-world skill. C for condition. It answers the question how. Under what circumstances or context will the learning occur? Minsan ang condition ay tumutukoy sa equipment or tools na dapat o hindi dapat gamitin in completion of the behavior. And lastly, D for degree. This is the degree of performance or mastery or the criterion measure. Sinasagot nito ang tanong na how much. How much will be accomplished? How well will the behavior need to be performed at what level? Ang degree ay maaaring isaad sa pamamagitan ng percentage. Halimbawa nito ay ang 75% of accuracy, 80% of neatness at marami pang iba. Maaari rin itong sabihin sa pamamagitan ng quantity or proportion tulad ng give at least 3, 5 out of 10 at marami pang iba. Narito ang isang halimbawa. Given the standard sentence, the BED3B student should be able to identify the noun and verb without error. Ang ating audience ay ang BED3B. Ang ating behavior ay should be able to identify the condition is given the standard sentence at ang ating degree ay without error. When planning lessons, all learning objectives to be set must be SMARTER. SMARTER stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound, evaluate, and readjust. First is specific. Learning objectives should be clearly written and well-defined. It states exactly what the learner will be able to do or what task to be done. To ensure that the learning objective is specific, dapat ang gagamiting verb ay observable. Second is measurable. This refers to the extent to which learning objectives evaluated against some specified criteria or standards. Measurability enables learners to know kung sila ay natututo, kung na-attain ba nila yung set of goals for them, at kung may nangyayaring progress sa kanila. Third is attainable, something that is realistic. Ang isang attainable na learning objectives ay challenging yet can be achieved with the current skills and abilities of the student. Kung tayo ay gagawa ng learning objectives, dapat nakatugma sa kakayahan ng estudyante upang ito'y matagumpay na makamit. Kailangan nating i-consider ang pre-existing knowledge ng mga estudyante. Next is relevant. Should be viewed as valuable in learning, something that relates to the interests, needs, and abilities of the learners. It answers the question, should it be done? Why? Ang gagawing learning objectives ay dapat na makita at maunawaan na ito ay valuable in learning, something na makaka-relate sa interests, needs, at abilities ng mga learner. Sa madaling salita, dapat ito ay napapanahon, magagamit ng mga learners today and in the future. Next is time-bound. It answers the question, when will it be done? Learning objective should include a specific date by which it will be complete. Ang isang learning objectives ay dapat may specific date kung kailan ito dapat na matapos at makomplete. Kinakailangang maglaan ng sapat na oras upang magawa ito ng maayos at matagumpay. Ngunit huwag dapat lubos upang maiwasan ang katamaran o procrastination. Next is evaluate. Check if the learning objectives have been met. Siguraduhin ang mga goals ay na-evaluate upang ma-monitor at malaman kung ito ay na-a-attain or na-a-achieve ng mga learners. Next is readjust. Changes you want to apply. Ito ang pinakahuling step ng SMARTER. Ginagawa ang readjustment kung ang iyong learning objectives na sinet ay hindi na-achieve o hindi kaya ay nagkaroon ng problema at kailangang ayusin. Ang ikalawang component ng curriculum ay ang content or subject matter. This is all about series of topics and lessons to be discussed by the teacher. Make sure that the subject to be taken are all aligned to the set standard. Pag sinabi nating subject matter or content, ito ang mga lessons na dapat matapos every week. These are the compendium of facts, concepts, principles, and theories. Narito ang standard o criteria sa pagpili ng subject matter or content. Una, ang self-sufficiency. Give effective learning outcomes. Attaining self-sufficiency is most economical manner. Here in self-sufficiency, dapat ang content na pipiliin ay kakaunti lang ang kinakailangang teaching and learning efforts, ngunit marami ang inaasahang magiging resulta. Next is significance. The materials are required by learners. Dapat ang content ay makakatulong sa pagpapaunlad ng cognitive, affective, at psychomotor skill ng mga learner. Third is validity. Authenticity of the subject matter for the learners. Dapat ang content o subject matter ay totoo o makatotohanan upang magamit ng mga learners sa pang-araw-araw. Next is interest. Can make interest of students learning. Dapat isaalang-alang ang interest ng mga learners sa pagpili ng content. Siguraduhin magugustuhan nila upang madali silang mahikayat na makinig. Next is utility. Usefulness of contents for learners, present or future. Siguraduhin ang content o subject matter na pipiliin ay magagamit ng mga learners sa present or future. Sa madaling salita, dapat ang content ay useful. Next is learnability. Content should be within the range. Ang kukuning content o subject matter ay dapat na akma sa kakayahan ng mga learners upang madali nila itong maunawaan. And lastly, we have the feasibility. The contents can be learned by learners. Kinakailangan na ang kukuning content o subject matter ay matututunan ng mga learners sa loob ng nakalaang oras. Dapat ding isaalang-alang dito ang mga resources na kinakailangan. Narito ang halimbawa ng subject matter and its content. Meron tayong mathematics. Under mathematics, merong numeric and computation skills, geometry, measurement, algebra, logic, and reasoning. Meron din tayong social studies. Under social studies are basic elements of geography, history, sociology, anthropology, economics, civics, political science, at psychology. Meron din tayong physical education. Under physical educations are health and physical fitness, individual team sport, spectatorship, and wise use of leisure. Nariyan din ang science. Under science are all branches of natural science, exploration, and discovery. The third component of curriculum is learning experience. This stage is also called as the teaching and learning methods, which talks about all the possible methods a teacher can utilize in instruction. Dito sa step na ito, kinakailangan ng guro na pumili ng method na kanyang gagamitin sa pagtuturo. Teacher's pedagogy will be tested on this stage on how a certain lesson can be taught considering the learners and also the resources available. Dito sa learning experience, masusubok ang kakayahan ng guro dahil kinakailangan niyang pumili ng method in teaching and learning na tama at tutugon sa pangangailangan ng kanyang mga estudyante, habang isinasaalang-alang din ang mga kagamitan na mayroon lamang o matatagpuan lamang sa kanilang lugar. Sa pagpili ng method na gagamitin, narito ang ilang mga dapat tandaan. Una, teaching methods are means to achieve at the end. Ikalawa, there is no single best teaching method. Ang mga learners ay magkakaiba ng kakayahan. May mga fast learner, mayroon namang hindi mabilis makasunod. Kung kaya't kinakailangan gumamit ng guro ng iba't ibang method to cater student different needs. Huwag mag-stick sa iisang method at bigyang tsansa ang iba na matuto. Ikatlo is teaching method should stimulate learning desire. Ang method na pipiliin sa pagtuturo ay dapat na naibibigay ang lubos na pangangailangan ng mga mag-aaral. Ikaapat, ang learning style of the student should be considered. Nabanggit ko nga kanina na ang mga mag-aaral ay magkakaiba, kung kaya't subukan ng iba't ibang method upang mahanap ang akma at tamang method na mag-work para sa bawat mag-aaral. Ikalima, every method should lead to the development of learning outcomes in 3 domains. Sa pagpili ng method na gagamitin, siguraduhin na ito'y makakatulong na ma-attain or ma-achieve ang learning objectives na sinet ng guro para sa kanyang mga estudyante. Huli ay ang flexibility. Dapat ang method na gagamitin ay applicable sa iba't ibang paraan at panahon. The fourth and last major component of curriculum is the evaluation. On this part, students are presented with various assessment strategies to measure how much they have learned on the said content or topic. This will ensure that learning really happens and a basis for improving instruction. To be effective, all curricula must have an evaluation. Curriculum evaluation na magtatakda ng kalidad, effectiveness at halaga ng pinag-aralan. Sa pamamagitan rin nito, malalaman ng guro kung ang kanyang mga mag-aaral ay lubos na natuto at nakamit ang set of learning objectives. Ilan sa mga Maaaring gamitin o halimbawa ng evaluation ay ang formative assessment tulad ng quiz. Nariyan din ang summative assessment tulad ng exam. Nariyan din ang performance tulad ng role play at ang project tulad ng portfolio. To sum up all the major components of curriculum, we have 4. First is the objective, what is to be done. Second, subject matter or content, what subject matter is to be included. Third is learning experiences, what instructional strategies, resources, and activities will be employed. And lastly, evaluation, what instruments will be used to assess the result of the curriculum. After knowing the various components of curriculum design, which are objectives, subject matter or content, learning experience, and finally, evaluation, we are now going to proceed to the approaches of curriculum designing. But before we get further, let's deal with the type of curriculum design models. There are many ways of looking curriculum and designing one. For our own purposes that is focused on the most widely used examples, we have 3. First is the subject-centered design, second is the learner-centered design, and third is the problem-centered design. Let's start at the subject-centered design. This approach focuses on the content of the curriculum. It corresponds mostly to the textbooks since they are usually written based on the specific subject or course. The aim of this approach is all about the mastery of the content. Isa ito sa pinakamatanda at gamit na approach sa pagdidisenyo ng curriculum. Sa approach na ito, ang pinakamahalaga ay maituro ng guro kung ano ang nakapaloob at nilalamang topics ng curriculum. Mahalaga rin na matapos at maisaulo ng mga mag-aaral ang nilalaman ng kanilang textbook sa loob ng nakalaang panahon. Dito, mas nabibigyang pansin at importansya ang intellectual na development ng mga mag-aaral at naisasantabi ang kanilang emotional, psychomotor at value development. Sa approach na ito, nagiging indikasyon ng pagkatuto ng mga mag-aaral ay ang kanilang kadalubhasaan sa nilalaman ng kanilang libro or textbook. Ilan sa mga naniniwala sa approach na ito ay sina Henry Morrison at William Harris. Narito ang isang sample scenario ng subject-centered curriculum. School X aims to produce the best graduates in a school district. Every learner must excel in all academic subjects to be on top of every academic competition. The higher the level of cognitive intelligence is, the better the learner. Hence, the focus of learning is mastery of the subject matter in terms of content. Every student is expected to be always on top in terms of mastery of discipline. Memorization and drill are important learning skills. Kung titignan nating maigi itong sample scenario, di ba? More on nag-focus sila sa intellectual development ng bata habang na-set aside yung ibang learning domains tulad ng psychomotor at affective. Subject-centered curriculum design has also some variations which are focused on the individual subject, a specific discipline, a combination of subjects or discipline which are broad field or interdisciplinary. Subject-centered design is further divided into 4. First is the subject design. This design includes the emphasis on the format of how schools allocate time for different subject areas in the elementary, secondary, and tertiary level. It is most traditional approach to teaching and learning. This is the oldest and so far the most familiar design for teachers, parents, and other laymen. Marami pa rin na nag-i-implement ng ganitong design until now. According to the advocates, subject design is an advantage dahil ito ay mas madaling i-deliver. Textbook written are commercially available. Ibig sabihin, maraming available at mabibiling libro sa mga bookstore at madadownload sa internet. The drawback of this design is that sometimes learning is so compartmentalized. It views the learners as passive actors in the educative process. It stressed so much on the content and forgets about students' natural tendencies, interests, and experience. Dahil nga mas nakafocus sa subject or content na neglect yung mismong potential and talents ng mga learners. At dahil doon, they are being restricted from performing. Ang mga learners ay inaasahang tagatanggap lang ng information from the teacher, while si teacher ay siya lang ang tagabigay ng information. Second variation of subject-centered approach is the discipline design. This curriculum design is related to subject design. However, while the subject design ventures only on the cluster of content, discipline design focuses on academic principles. Discipline refers to specific knowledge learned through a method to which scholars use to study a specific content of their field. Students in history should learn like historians. Students in biology should learn on how biologists learn. And so, the students in mathematics should learn like mathematicians. In the same manner, teachers should teach how scholars in the discipline will convey the particular knowledge. This design is often used in college but not in elementary and secondary levels. In short, ang discipline design is far broader compared to subject design. The third variation of subject-centered approach is the correlation design. Coming from a core, correlated curriculum design links separated subject design in order to reduce fragmentation. Subjects are related to one another and still maintain their identity. Halimbawa nito, social studies and English correlates well by bringing up history in presenting different topics of literature. It is widely observed also that when discussing science, mathematical concepts can be correlated to solve a specific problem. Sa madaling salita, may mga subjects na pinagsama-sama pero alam pa rin natin na they are separated subject, kaya minsan may mga topics tayo na na-discuss na sa kabilang subject tapos nauulit pa sa iba dahil they are correlated. The fourth and last variation of subject-centered approach is the broad field design. It is a type of subject integration wherein three or more subjects which are related to each other can discuss correspondingly. This design was made to cure the compartmentalization of the separate subject and integrate the contents that are related to one another. Dito sa broad field design, the specific theme is identified on all other subject areas revolve around the theme. Sa madaling salita, may mga subjects tayo na pinagsama-sama para gawing iisang subject area. Pinagsama-sama sila to be as one. Halimbawa nito ay yung subjects such as geography, economics, political science, anthropology, sociology, and history are fused into one subject na tinatawag nating social studies. Might as well the grammar, literature, spelling, linguistics, and composition under language arts. The last two approaches to curriculum designing will be discussed by Miss Dr. AJ Rose. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.